Hello everyone, this is Massey once again, and of course I'm in the monitor right now, set up my room, and yes, I'm using my iPhone XS again, the iPhone XS I mean, which of course I've used this for my special inside look video of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie on Blu-ray, and I actually like the way how it looks, so I figure why not do it again with the kickstand, and yes, it's time for a movie review. You know I review this movie, the original Wizard of Oz, which is a timeless classic. I still love this movie. Judy Garland will always be Dorothy Gale. Ray Bolger is the Scarecrow. Burt Lahr is the Lion. Frank Morgan is the Wizard of Oz. And the Tin Man is Jack Haley, and Margaret Hamilton is the Wicked Witch of the West. It is very fantastic, well directed by Victor Fleming, and I love the songs, I love the story, the characters, and even in its Technicolor process, it's actually still beautiful to look at. There's not much I can say about this film because it's already talked about a lot, and we all know how timeless it is. I actually gave this film an A+, and always will give it an A+. So, yeah. If you've not seen my review of The Wizard of Oz, please feel free to check it out. I really do recommend this movie. But I'm not doing a review of this film because I'm about to review a movie that is worth talking about. The one that doesn't get this much talk about as the original. So, how can you do a follow-up to the original film and make it bigger and better? Well, you don't. And that is, my friends, I am going to do a review of, not The Wiz, I'm not reviewing that movie, but instead I'm reviewing Return to Oz. Starring Fairuza Balk as Dorothy Gale, who you may recognize her as Vicky Falcourt in the Adam Sandler movie The Waterboy. If you like The Waterboy, that's fine, but I don't. And you have Jean Marsh playing Princess Mobby, Piper Laurie as Auntie M, and you have Nicole Williamson playing the Gnome King, our main villain. And you have David Shire, who I believe did the score for the Francis Ford Coppola movie The Conversation, which I really loved. And you have executive producer Gary Kurtz, who produced 2 Star Wars movies, Star Wars New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, and also he co-produced American Graffiti with Francis Ford Coppola. And this movie is co-written and directed by Walter Murch, who has done a number of Francis Ford Coppola films, and is well known for helping out George Lucas for his first film, THX 1138, as well as working on the sounds for American Graffiti. And believe it or not, folks, this was the only movie he has ever directed. Aside, he did one episode for the Clone Wars anime series. And after he did this film, he never directed again. Which is too bad. Which I would have liked to see more of this guy's work. And of course, I had the DVD right here. And I know there's a Blu-ray and all, but unfortunately, that Blu-ray doesn't have any features. But it has a much better picture quality, but sadly, no features. On this DVD right here, it contains some of the features that were taken from the Anchor Bay release, which you have a 10 or 11 minute interview of Fairuza Balk talking about her experience on Return to Oz. Then you get some TV spots, a trailer, and they actually did include her intro when she says, "Hi, my name is Fairuza Balk, and you're watching Return to Oz, and I hope you enjoy it." Which only happens when you hit the play movie button. So, it has some of the features from the Anchor Bay release, but it doesn't have like an in-depth documentary about the making of the film, or deleted scenes being shown, or maybe a feature from back in the day. But however, there is a documentary in the works called Remember Return to Oz, which is still in the post-production process right now, so I really don't know when this documentary of the making Return to Oz will be done, but soon it will. And I'll put the link below the description if you want to check it out. It's on their YouTube channel named Family Films Production, and also they do have a Facebook page called Remember Return to Oz. And maybe a Family Films Production, so just give a shout out to the people who are working on that documentary. So, to the creators of the Remember Return to Oz documentary, I'm making this review just for you, and also promoting your documentary, and hopefully it'll get to be seen. So, yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Remember Return to Oz, because I've always liked to know how this whole film came to be. So, and I guess to start off about this movie here, when did I first know about Return to Oz? Well, the answer is, I don't, because I was mostly very well known with this Wizard of Oz movie. This is the only Oz film that's been stuck with me all my life. And this is the Oz film that I pretty much grew up with. And I didn't know this thing even existed I didn't know this was a sequel to the original Wizard of Oz. I didn't expect it to be a sequel, but I do remember, if I remember from when I was in elementary school, I was like a second and third grader. I do remember it was like a book of Return to Oz. I think like a picture storybook or something. I don't know. I don't have much of a best memory of that. And I did see the review of the Angry Video Game Nerd, James Rolfe, on Cinemassacre.com, where he actually did do a review of this movie, and was curious about it. And I know that Del Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic, reviewed this movie for his Disney December month. And I watched this movie on YouTube, and I actually really enjoy it. And of course, later on, I actually was able to get this film on DVD here, which is the only thing I could get, which I got is at Barnes & Noble. I wish I get the Blu-ray, but this will have to time me over. But of course, I could download the movie on iTunes. I can watch it in high definition, but this will have to do. And the reason I chose DVD over Blu-ray because, like I said, the Blu-ray has no features, but this one does. And I was a little worried that this thing was going to go out of print, but I had to pick it up just for the features, and I did. So, and I can watch it on DVD, and it's fine. So if I don't have the Blu-ray, that's okay. But maybe someday down the road, I'll get the Blu-ray. But anyway, so now that I've seen the movie, and I finally got a copy of it, you're pretty much wondering, how did this whole thing came to be? Well, the film itself did receive a mention in the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's been like, believe it or not, 46 years after the original, which was considered to be the longest postponed sequel ever. And then around the late 70s and early 80s, even during that time, the Oz books were considered in the public domains. And then, of course, when Disney got involved, they were considered making their own Oz movie. And it's going to be called The Rainbow Road to Oz. But unfortunately, Walt Disney didn't think, like, nah, it's not going to work. So instead, he ended up making Mary Poppins and Babes in Toyland. But now, of course, along entered Walter Murch, making his directorial debut, and he talked to Disney saying, I want to make a Wizard of Oz movie. Which, of course, he was passionate for because he knows the Oz books quite well, and I'm pretty sure he knows the Jury Garden Classic. So he decided to take a shot at it, and Disney's like, okay, go for it. And, of course, this was the first film to use the Walt Disney Pictures logo with the blue castle and the rainbow going over it. Just before they add the Wish You Upon a Star scene. Which, of course, that will always be the trademark for Disney. The New Wish Upon a Star that was featured in the movie Pinocchio. And while filming began, Murch started to go behind schedule due to budget concerns, and Disney was pretty much going to fire Walter Murch. And of course, Walter Murch had to call on his friend George Lucas, who you may know him as the director of Star Wars and Graffiti and THX, as well as the Star Wars prequels. Actually, did check out what Walter Murch had shot, and Lucas had to told Disney to reconsider on firing Murch, so they pretty much had to reinstate him as director. But Lucas did say, of course, if Walter Murch starts to fall behind schedule again, I will step in to finish the film. And Murch got to finish his movie, and now he got a complete cut of the film. Emma Ridley, who plays Princess Ozma in the film, had her voice be redubbed by Walter Murch's daughter because the director felt that her accent was too British. So the film was released on June 21st, 1985, which it opened to pretty mixed reviews by critics, but it was a financial disappointment at the box office and it only grossed $11.1 million and gets its $28 million budget. However, the film itself actually did earn an Oscar nomination for visual effects, but was given to Cocoon. But despite the not well-received flow by critics, it actually was able to attain a cult status, especially by many fans who grew up with this film, and to those who are fans of the Oz series, actually really respect this film to be more faithful to the works of L. Frank Baum. Which, of course, this movie is based on the Oz books, 2 books, as I may, such as The Land of Oz and Ozma Oz. Whereas, the original here is pretty much the first one, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and this one here is about The Land of Oz and Ozma Oz, loosely adapted. And especially, even when you do a double feature of both of those movies, you always wonder like how different these movies are, and especially how you go from a classic into a movie that's really dark and wants to scare kids. I mean, well, this film itself is intended for kids. There are some moments that do have some scare factors in it, mainly notably the flying monkeys and the Wicked Witch, as well as being in the dark forest. So there are moments like that. So, well, You have a lighthearted movie, and then you just enter a movie that's gonna traumatize you to death. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying. So yeah, Return of Oz, I don't think it's really that bad of a film. I mean, yes, I will admit it's not as good as the original. I'll give it that. I mean, you can't beat the original because the original will always be the best one, and I will agree to that. The original is the timeless one. This one, of course, I do appreciate this film for trying something different. And I like the style of the movie, and I really do like the new characters like TikTok and the Gump and the Talking Chicken and Belina. And of course, you have Jack Pumpkinhead, who I really like, who's actually played by Jim Henson's son, Brian Henson, who will go on to direct two Muppet movies, The Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island. And he also directed The Happy Timers, which I have not seen. And believe it or not, he actually did the voice of Jack Pumpkinhead. And I thought the Gnome King, played by Nicole Williamson, does a really good job, and he actually is a really good character actor. And I thought the claymation is fantastic. It actually has a sort of charm to it. And of course, I know people say like, "Oh, they look fake and cheesy," but to me, I don't think they look fake and cheesy. I think they look impressive. I mean, yeah, there are some effects that do not hold it very well, especially because of the DVD transfer. That kind of makes it noticeable. You know some of the mad outlines in the movie. I mean, it has some nice mad paintings, but when you see some of the outlines on some of the characters, you probably tell it's noticeable. So I guess maybe because it's due to the DVD transfer. I'm not sure if the Blu-ray can save it, but we'll see how that goes. And for our main character, Dorothy Gale, played by Fairuza Balk, I know it's really hard to fill in the shoes for Judy Garland here, but hey, what can you do about it? And especially the director here was not trying to recapture the success of the original Oz movie, because that's not his goal here. Because if you look up on YouTube, there is a video made back in the day about Walter Murch about his take on the sequel, where he says, "I see it as a sequel on one other side, that it is not a musical, it is not a direct adaptation of the original Wizard of Oz, it's just pretty much more to Alfred Bond, but still pays a little nods to it," which of course you do have Dorothy's hair trying to look like Judy Garland, and of course they have to pay a fee for MGM for the use of the ruby slippers. So yeah, while it is faithful to the Oz book, they still keep Dorothy's slippers ruby and not silver as it was in the book, which is especially why they didn't use the silver shoes in the original, because they wanted to look something more glorious and Technicolor, so that's why they went with ruby instead. And the music by David Shire, I gotta say, I thought it was beautiful. And of course, while this film is dark and it is rated PG, but there are some moments that you do get a laugh out of it. And I know, of course, you have the Wheelers and you have Princess Mombi in it, especially Darcy Girl. And then the headless one comes out of bed, and oh my goodness. So anyway, as I was saying about Fairuza Balk, I thought she was really good. And yes, I know she did The Waterboy and all, but this is pretty much probably her best role she's ever done. I mean, yeah, she's not Judy Garland, but she isn't trying to be. She's just trying to be a 10-year-old girl as she was in the books, whereas Judy Garland here was 16 at the time, pretending to be 12 years old, or 10, as I may. And I do like the look of the Oz. It really doesn't have that TV movie quality. It's not direct-to-video. It's pretty much on a grand scale. And heck, even the original Wizard of Oz is on a grand scale, and I think both of them are on a grand scale in their own way. So it's really hard for me to say more about this movie, but if you have not seen Return of Oz, then you need to check it out now. This doesn't get talked about a lot, which I can't spoil it, because not many people have ever seen or even heard of Return of Oz, because most of them ever think about Oz, they think about the original, which I know I do. I talk about the original a lot. But I think this one needs to be talked about a lot. Oh yeah, of course you do have the Scarecrow in this movie, which I will admit, and while I do appreciate for being faithful to the Oz books and all, which I had never read any of the Oz books other than the first one, I wasn't too crazy on the Scarecrow design, which I know they're trying to make him more like the one from the book, but especially when he makes that face, like that frozen smile, and sometimes he changes my eyes when he's like, it's like, come on. So I think the original one did it better, where of course in the original it was just makeup, which I actually prefer that than just having some guy wearing some fake looking mask. So, sorry to the creators of that film, Return of Oz. But nevertheless, I mean, despite some negatives here, I do think the positives outweigh the bad. So, It's got some moments that do make me laugh. It is scary, of course. I thought the acting is very well done, especially for Fairuza Balk. The stop motion is fantastic, while there are some that are dated. I love the music. I love the look of the film, especially on a grand scale. And I think Walter Murch, as this is your only movie you ever directed, Mr. Murch, I gotta say, you did a pretty good job on making the film, and I think you should be proud of what you had to accomplish, despite some of the ups and downs you had with the film. And I would not mind see you direct more movies again. I understand maybe that's probably not your saying, but I actually wouldn't mind it. I mean, would you? I mean, I would like to see you direct more movies, other than this one. And the movie itself is really not that boring, by the way. It actually did keep me going. So, yeah, I mean, I really enjoy Return of Oz, and actually I think this is definitely a... No, I wouldn't say decent. A darn good follow-up to the original Wizard of Oz. You know, it may be a sequel, but technically it's not. It's just an Oz movie in a different world, in a different universe, and definitely being what it was to the books. So, yeah, I mean, I actually do recommend Return of Oz. If you haven't got a copy of this film on DVD or Blu-ray or a digital download, then I'd say check it out. Oh, yeah. There is one moment in the film that actually did make me cry, which I won't say, which I don't know why, but anytime I ever watch this movie, it always gets to me. And this is, believe it or not, the only Oz film that actually made me teared up. You know, in the original film, I didn't cry, but I know the emotion was still there, especially for Dorothy Gilda, how much you really want her to get home to Kansas, a Scarecrow trying to get a brain, Timon getting a heart, and the Lion receiving some courage. So, yeah, but yeah, all in all, I'm going to give Return of Oz a B+. It's not as good as the original, but I think it's a darn good follow-up to it. And definitely, I might say, pretty underrated in my book. So, yeah, I really enjoy Return of Oz. So, if you really do enjoy the timeless classic The Wizard of Oz, and especially you're a big fan of the Oz series, I recommend this one. But if you're expecting a film to look like this, you're probably going to be disappointed, which I know critics were disappointed by this movie because they want this film to be like this. They want the same movie. But of course, it depends on the kind of different you're expecting. Either you like this kind of different, or it's not that kind of different you want it. But hey, to each of our own. But to me, I love them both. But of course, I do like this one a lot. But I still gotta give respect to what this film was trying to do. So, I really enjoy Return of Oz, and I really can't say more about it. So, give it a look. Give it a look. Okay, so that's my review of Return of Oz, and let me know what you think of this video. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Feel free to put your comments down below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Take care. And now, I'm going to start watching this movie. And this will be the last Oz film I will review. Oz the Grand Powerful. See you later. And, be aware of the Headless Mombi. See ya.